Hmm?
Yeah, the ball out of the avocado.
Aha! In my country, we call that a pit. Thank you. I'm glad that you find me entertaining on this day, this auspicious, the 21st day of November, possibly the day that I hit 20,000 words for NaNoWriMo. Possibly? 20,000. Nope, 50,000. But I can't stop because the book's not done. Baseline goal. Yeah. Who's to say? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hey, Renee. I love your new name. She changed her display name on TikTok. Renee S. Troll. Because because Renee, whenever we have no trolls in any of the lives, Renee takes on the role of troll. She's a stand-in troll.
I like it.
Tannenbaum, Renee is a troll. Morning. A new Friends quest started. Can you complete 2 quests in a row? Tap here to study Italian. That's what Duolingo just told me. No. Well, I mean, maybe. Let's see what she says. I don't know. She hasn't caught it. She hasn't.
Oh, you're not able to see it?
Hers? No, because she doesn't have a public account because she's a child.
Oh, so it's public.
Well, I mean, she sent me a screenshot last time. I mean, I don't think she could fake that. I don't think she could. Wow. No, I don't think she could do it. What program does she have to fake a screenshot?
Any program you can download on the Play Store?
Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. Remember, she doesn't have access to do that kind of stuff. She can't just randomly download stuff. She has parental locks on her phone. So to even use time, it sends an alert to her parents and says, like, can Natasha have a few more minutes? Can Natasha download it?
Watch this scenario. Hey, Dad, can I have a photo editing app?
Yeah, I could probably let her.
You would definitely let her.
All right. Well.
I don't think she's gonna do it.
No, I don't think she's going to either. She's not a liar.
No.
You should definitely Duolingo with us, Anya. Grace Duolingos with me.
It's gonna be a good one today.
What's going to be a good one? The smoothie?
Yeah.
What's going to be good about it? What's different?
And cherries.
Whoa.
And blackberries.
Oh, yummy.
And avocado, banana, and blueberries.
Yummy.
And now some carrots.
Are you cold, Becca? Is it cold for you? All right, friends. Good morning. Max broke our thermostat. Uh-oh. Anyone want to do my meeting at 2:30? No. Anyone want to do mine?
Yeah, I'll do yours. You do mine.
You're going to do Shelly's meeting at 2:30?
Yeah. Yes, you do mine.
Shelly, what's the meeting about?
Just tell me the vibe you want me to give off.
The vibe she wants to give off is annoyed at the CEO and
You want him to know you're annoyed?
wait, it's just a client meeting, so maybe not. He's not there.
Oh, well, that's gonna be. Oh,
What kind of client are we talking? Oh, poor Max. No, he's not going to be in the meeting.
should I play hardball with his clients?
Should we play hardball with these clients? It's a sports retail client, so you actually might be good at it.
Oh.
What kind of sports?
I'll sports high five. 1 second.
got bad news, babe. It's the only sport you don't like.
It's hockey?
It's hockey.
There's other sports I don't like. I don't like cricket.
Okay, well, I don't think she has any cricket clients. No, that was the smoothie maker, not the Nespresso. The Nespresso, you start to talk and get interrupted by the blender is classic comedy. Oh yeah, I am classic comedy. I was born into a classic comedian family. Canada says stay away from oh yeah, Canada doesn't want you because of your distaste for hockey.
Wait, I mean, let's say it crazy here. Canadians love me. In general. Canadians like me. This is just a fact.
Just in general? What Canadians do you know that are particular fans?
I work with a lot of Canadians.
Oh, that's right. Your basically partner at work is a Canadian.
Exactly.
Whoa.
I get along with Canadians fine.
Yeah. Well, does he
I
know?
always just make
But does
fun
he
of their silly
know?
holidays that are just like sort of matching ours, but like crappy Canadian versions. It's fun.
Does he know that you don't like hockey, though, is the question.
You know what? He's never talked about hockey once. He's one of those Canadians that doesn't care about hockey.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Abby. Whoa, that's so cool. Guys, Grace's other science sister is in the house. Abby is a different scientist than Grace, but their parents must be so proud because they made 2 science babies,
What?
which I think is so cool.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I know. It's really
What
cool.
do they do? Wait, let's find out.
Why,
What do
you
they
want a
do
science
as
baby?
children to turn them into science babies?
What did they do as children to turn you into science babies?
Yeah. Get the inside scoop.
I love that she said outer space Grace because she was like, oh, let me specify which Grace it is, as if we would F with any other Grace. We have but one Grace in our lives, and it is your sister. Welcome. We welcome you to the fold. Unfortunately, we have a lot of Abbies, so you're going to have to be Science Abby.
Science Abby, that's a great
Maybe they are science experiments themselves. Whoa, Renee, too trolly. Too trolly.
Renee.
Amanda said maybe they're related to the Kelseys. 2 siblings that do the same thing, yeah. So sad for another person who chose your life.
Science, if they had all the resources in the world.
Anya thinks you're hilarious and could listen to you talk all day. Sucks for me. You just don't want to listen to me talk. This is my channel. You are science experiments, Abby?
Oh, no.
That's how they got to be their science experiments themselves. What kind of science experiment are you? Grace didn't tell me you were a science experiment. Oh, I was totally kidding, Allie and Mary. I was kidding. They said, don't worry, they love hearing me talk too.
That's good.
Yeah.
I assume that that's actually why they're here.
I assume.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that they're here for you.
I mean, who's to say? They've never seen you. They don't know how handsome you are. Some comments were filtered to protect the community experience. I wonder if those comments were Abby's comments about what kind of science experiment she is.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. I think Abby's science experiment life got filtered, you guys. That's really creepy.
The government doesn't want you to know.
The government doesn't want you to know. I know you have, Shelly. Yeah, so you know. Weird. Abby, did you get filtered by TikTok? Rough morning, I had to drop cheer. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry. It's my frowny face. All of my kids are home. I'm done with break. It's break already? Why so long? We were just in the car driving to Chicago. It's laggy. Oh, okay. So it's not. Well, somebody got filtered. We didn't know if it was you. That's all. Broke my heart. Not her fault, but the parents are a mess. I knew kids like that in school, Rosie. They have a week off for Thanksgiving. Outrageous. That's outrageous. Send them to year-round school. It's a great smoothie, babe.
Thank you, babe. It's made with love.
It tastes like love. What does love taste like? All right, so let's read some more about Britney Spears. If anyone, much like it. Abby's already got the jokes, you guys. No, it does. Does it have an egg in it today, babe?
Yeah. It It doesn't. It would taste way better had egg in it. Maybe tomorrow. We're low on eggs, babe. I couldn't do it.
No, I know. We only have 2 eggs left. Somebody would be missing breakfast if we put an egg in the smoothie. I went to the store yesterday and I forgot to get eggs. Oh, maybe I'll get them when I go to Target later. Yeah, Abby Science Experiment version. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to read some more about Britney Spears today. I hope everyone is prepared. After yesterday, you can come to Target with me, Becca. After yesterday's chapters, I feel, hey, Cindy, welcome back. I feel like I should just probably give a blanket warning. I didn't before. I think maybe on some level it's obvious because it's a memoir, not a fiction novel, but like we don't know what's gonna come up, right? So when we're reading Land of Stories, I don't give trigger warnings because it's very unlikely that he's gonna put anything in there that's problematic, you know what I mean? It's not that kind of book. But because this is nonfiction, there may be things in her family's history that we don't know about, so just remember that I can't anticipate what's coming, I guess is what I'm saying. So let's dig into chapter 3 of Britney Spears. Miss Lynn, the boy shouted. He was out of breath, panting at our front door. You have to come now. One day when I was 4, I was in the living room of our house, sitting on the couch with my mom on one side and my friend Cindy on the other. Kentwood was like a town in a soap opera. There was always drama. Cindy was chattering away to my mom about the latest scandal while I was listening in, trying to follow along when the door burst open. The boy's facial expression was enough for me to know that something terrifying had happened. My heart dropped. My mother and I started running. The road had just been repaved and I was barefoot, running on hot black tar. Ow, 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 I yelped with every step. I looked down at my feet and saw the tar sticking to them. Finally, we arrived at the field where my brother Brian had been playing with neighborhood friends. They had been trying to mow some tall grass with their four-wheelers. It seemed like a fantastic idea to them because they were idiots. Inevitably, they couldn't see one another in the tall grass and had a head-on collision. I must have seen everything, hearing Brian hollering in pain and my mother screaming in fear, but I don't remember any of it. I think God made me black out so I wouldn't remember the pain, the panic, or the sight of my brother's crushed body. A helicopter airlifted him to the hospital. When I visited Brian days later, he was in a full-body cast. From what I could see, he had broken nearly every bone in his body. And the detail that drove it all home for me as a kid was that he had to pee through a hole in the cast. Wow. Well, that's intense. The other thing I couldn't help but notice was that the whole room was full of toys. My parents were so grateful that he'd survived, and they felt so bad for him during recovery that every day was Christmas. My mom catered to my brother because of guilt. She still defers to him to this day. It's funny how one split second can change a family's dynamic forever. The accident made me much closer to my brother. Our bond was formed out of my sincere and genuine recognition of his pain. Once he came home from the hospital, I wouldn't leave his side. I slept beside him every night. He couldn't sleep in his own bed because he still had the full body cast, so he had a special bed and they had to set up a little mattress for me at the foot of it. Sometimes I'd climb onto his bed and just hold on to him. Once the cast came off, I continued to share a bed with him for years. Even as a very little girl, I knew that between the accident and how hard our dad was on him, my brother had a difficult life and I wanted to bring him comfort. Finally, after years of this, my mom told me, Brittany, now you're almost in 6th grade, you need to start sleeping by yourself. I said no. I was such a baby, I didn't want to sleep by myself, but she insisted, and finally I had to give in. Once I started to stay in my own room, I came to enjoy having my own space, but I remained extremely close to my brother. He loved me and I loved him so much. For him, I felt the most endearing, protective love, and I didn't want him ever to be hurt. I'd seen him suffer so much already. As my brother got better, we became heavily involved in the community. Since it was a small town of just a couple thousand people, everyone came out to support the 3 main parades a year: Mardi Gras, 4th of July, and Christmas. The whole town looked forward to them. The streets would be lined with people smiling, waving, leaving behind the drama of their lives for a day to have fun, watching their neighbors slowly wander by on Highway 38. One year, a bunch of us kids decided to decorate a golf cart and put it in the Mardi Gras parade.
There were probably 8 kids in the golf cart. Way too many, obviously. There were 3 on the bench and a couple standing on the sides holding onto the little roof, 1 or 2 swinging from the back. It was so heavy that the tires of the cart almost went flat. We all wore 19th century costumes. I can't even remember why. I was sitting on the laps of the bigger kids in the front waving at everyone. The problem was, with that many kids in a golf cart and its flat tires, the thing got hard to control. And with all the laughing and waving and excited energy, well, we only hit the car ahead of us a few times, but that was enough to get us expelled from the parade. When my father started drinking heavily again, his business started to fail. The stress of having no money was compounded by the chaos of my father's extreme mood swings. I was particularly scared to get in the car with my dad because he would talk to himself while he was driving. I couldn't understand the words he was saying. He seemed to be in a world of his own. I knew even then that my father had reasons for wanting to lose himself in drinking. He was stressed out by work, and now I see even more clearly that he was self-medicating after enduring years of abuse at the hands of his father, June. And at the time, though, I had no idea why he was so hard on us, why nothing we did seemed to be quite good enough for him. The saddest part to me was that I always wanted a dad who would love me as I was. Somebody who would say, I just love you. You could do anything right now, and I would still love you with unconditional love. My dad was reckless, cold, and mean with me, but he was even harder on Brian. He pushed him so hard to do well in sports that it was cruel. Brian's life in those years was much rougher than mine because our father put him through the same brutal regimen that June had pushed on him. Brian was forced to do basketball and also football, even though he wasn't built for it. My dad could also be abusive with my mom, but he was more the type of drinker who would go away for days at a time. To be honest, it was a kindness to us when he went away. I preferred it when he wasn't there. What made his time at home especially bad was that my mom would argue with him all night long. He was so drunk that he couldn't talk. I don't know if he even heard her, but we could. Brian and I had to suffer the consequences of her rage, which meant not being able to sleep through the night. Her screaming voice would echo through the house. I just stormed into the living room in my nightgown and begged her, just feed him and put him to bed. He's sick. She was arguing with a person who wasn't even conscious, but she wouldn't listen. I would go back to bed furious, staring daggers at the ceiling, listening to her yell and cursing her in my heart. Isn't that awful? He was the one who was drunk. He was the one whose alcoholism had made us so poor. He was the one who was passed out in the chair. But she was the one who ended up pissing me off because, at least in those moments, he was quiet. I was so desperate to sleep, and she wouldn't shut up. In spite of all the nightly drama, by day, my mom made our home a place my friends wanted to come to, at least when my father respected us enough to drink somewhere else. All the kids from the neighborhood came over. Our house was, for lack of a better word, the cool house. We had a high bar with 12 chairs around it. My mom was a typical young Southern mom, often gossiping away, always smoking cigarettes with her friends at the bar. She always smoked Virginia Slims, the same cigarettes that I smoke now, or talking with them on the phone. I was dead to all of them. The older kids would sit on the bar chairs in front of the TV and play video games. I was the youngest one, and I didn't know how to play video games, so I always had to fight to get the older kids' attention. Our house was a zoo. I was always dancing on the coffee table for attention, and my mom was always chasing after Brian when he was little, jumping over couches or trying to catch him so that she could spank him after he'd back-talked her. I was overly excited, trying to draw the older kids' eyes away from the screen in the living room or to get the adults to stop talking to one another in the kitchen. Brittany, stop, my mother would yell. We have company. Just be nice and be on good behavior. But I ignored her. I would always find a way to get everyone's attention. I was quiet and small, but when I sang, I came alive. I hadn't taken enough gymnastics to be able to move well. When I was 5, I entered a local dance competition. My talent was a dance routine done wearing a top hat and a twirling cane. I won. Then my mother started taking me around to contests all over the region. In old photos and videos, I'm wearing the most ridiculous things. In my 3rd grade musical, I wore a baggy purple t-shirt with a huge purple bow on top of my head that made me look like a Christmas present. It was absolutely horrible. I worked my way through the talent circuit, winning regional contests in Baton Rouge, and before too long, my parents set their sights on bigger opportunities than what we could accomplish picking up prizes in school gymnasiums. When they saw an advertisement in the newspaper for an open call for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, they suggested we go. We drove 8 hours to Atlanta. There were more than 2,000 kids there. I had to stand out, especially once we learned after we arrived that they were only looking for kids over the age of 10. When the casting director, a man named Matt Casella, asked me how old I was, I opened my mouth to say 8, and then I remembered the age cutoff and said 9. He looked at me skeptically. For my audition, I sang Sweet Georgia Brown while doing a dance routine and adding in some gymnastic flips. They narrowed the group of thousands from across the country to a handful of kids, including a beautiful girl from California a few years older than me named Carrie Russell, a girl from Pennsylvania named Christina Aguilera, and I was told that we hadn't made the cut, but that we were talented. Sorry, a girl from Pennsylvania named Christina Aguilera and I were told that we hadn't made the cut, but that we were talented. So Brittany and Christina did not make the cut, which in hindsight is hysterical. Matt said we would probably get on the show once we were a little older and more experienced. He told my mom that he thought we should go to New York City to work. He recommended we look up an agent he liked who helped young performers get their start in the theater. We didn't go right away. Instead, for about 6 months, I stayed in Louisiana and I went to work waiting tables at Lexi's seafood restaurant, Granny's Seafood in Delhi, to help out. The restaurant had a terrible fishy smell. Still, the food was amazing, unbelievably good, and it became the new hangout for all the kids. The deli's back room where my brother and all his friends would get drunk in his deli was the back room where my brother and all his friends would get drunk in high school. Meanwhile, out on the floor at age 9, I was cleaning shellfish and serving plates while doing my prissy dances in my cute little outfits. My mom sent footage of me to the agent Matt had recommended, Nancy Carson. In the video, I was singing Shine On Harvest Moon, and it worked. She asked us to come to New York and meet with her. After I sang for Nancy in her office 20 stories up in a building in Midtown Manhattan, we got on the Amtrak and headed back home. I had officially been signed by a talent agency. Not long after we got back to Louisiana, my little sister Jamie Lynn was born. Laura Lynn and I spent hours playing dolls with her in the playhouse like she was playing with her in the dollhouse like she was another one of our dolls. After a few days she came home. Laura Lynn and I spent hours playing with her in the playhouse like she was another one of our dolls, right? A few days after she came home with the baby, I was getting ready for a dance competition when my mother started acting strangely. She was hand sewing a rip in my costume, but while working the needle and thread, she just threw the costume away. She didn't seem to know what she was doing. The costume was a piece of beep, frankly, but I needed it to compete. "Mama, why did you throw my costume away?" I said. And then all of a sudden there was blood everywhere. Something hadn't been sewn up properly after she gave birth. She was gushing blood. I screamed for my father. "What's wrong with her?" I yelled. "What's wrong with her?" Daddy rushed in and drove her to the hospital. The whole way I kept screaming, "Something cannot be wrong with my mom." I was 9. To see a river of blood flowing out of your mother would be traumatic for anyone, but for a child at that age, it was terrifying. I had never seen that much blood before. Once we got to the doctor, they fixed her into what me felt like 2 seconds. No one ever seemed that concerned. Apparently, a postpartum hemorrhage isn't that uncommon, but it lodged in my memory. At gymnastics class, I always made sure my mom was on the side with the window waiting for me to be done. It was a reflex, something I had to do to feel safe. But one day, I did my usual check-in out the window and she wasn't there. I panicked. She'd left. She was gone, maybe forever. I started crying and I fell to my knees. Seeing me, you'd have thought someone had just died. My teacher rushed over to comfort me. "Honey, she's gonna come back," she said. "It's okay, she probably just went to Walmart." It turned out that my mom had done exactly that. She'd gone to Walmart. But it was not okay. I couldn't take her leaving. Seeing how upset I was when she got back, she never left the window during class again. And for the next few years, she never left my side. I was a little girl with big dreams. I wanted to be a star like Madonna, Dolly Parton, or Whitney Houston. I had simpler dreams too, dreams that seemed even harder to achieve and felt too ambitious to say out loud. I wanted my dad to stop drinking. I wanted my mom to stop yelling. I wanted everyone to be okay. With my family, anything could go wrong at any time. I had no power there. Only while performing was I truly invincible. Standing in a Manhattan conference room in front of a woman who could make my dreams come true, at least one thing was completely within my control. Wow. That's wild. Wild. Do we know who the ghostwriter was on this? It doesn't say. We'd have to Google it. I don't know. That sounds crazy, Becca. I'm just finishing the new Hunger Games and then reading this. I love the Hunger Games prequel, James. I read it when it came out, and I can't wait to see the film. Well, this is already a wild ride. She jumped right into Crazy Town. I guess she was born into Crazy Town. I'm gonna go make breakfast and do some writing, and then I have to go to so many places today. I need glue. Yeah, James, I would be too, except, hey Tiff, that I think the Hunger Games, I say this all the time, I think the Hunger Games trilogy was the best book to movie adaptation that there's been in a long time. I don't think most book to movie adaptations are very good. And even if they're good movies, they may not be good adaptations. And I think The Hunger Games was a pretty good adaptation. I did, Lainey, I did. So I don't know. I think it might be okay. The other ones were pretty good. They're pretty good. Yeah. For example, The Princess Diaries is a super fun movie, but it definitely isn't the book. You know what I mean? But I think Hunger Games, they did pretty good. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's all. I will see you all later. A PT of mine said the book Red, White, and Royal Blue is amazing. It was okay. I didn't love it. It was okay. Yeah, I read it. It was okay, Lainey. Not great. All right, so I will see you all later. Yes, everything is subjective. Agreed. Yeah, I agree with Liz. It was just fine. Agreed. All right. See y'all later. Maybe I'll come on later and make base slime.